So, I stumbled across something strange. I'd like to introduce you to someone, a Redditor that goes by the name M. Lemsicles. On Thursday, March 24th, 2022, M. Lemsicles made this post to the Paranormal Encounters subreddit. Please tell me what this is, and what to do about it. On the same day, she posted on the Skinwalkers subreddit this. I think I might be experiencing a Skinwalker, and I don't know what to do about it. This post is serious. Please help. But this post was since deleted. So, let's take a look at this first post. I just want to preface this by saying that I cannot stress enough how real this encounter is. I know it's crazy. I know it sounds fake. I'm sober. I'm of sound mind. It happened. And I'm in tears and sick to my stomach because I don't know what to do about it. This is going to be a long one, but I'm in desperate need of help and I think it's all important. We live in North Texas. My boyfriend's house is a 2-story house, the upstairs consisting of only the master suite. The staircase starts across from the kitchen and goes straight up into a wall. There's a 90-degree angle opening to the bedroom door. There are no vents on this staircase. Once inside the door, there is a small hallway section that has doors on either side, one to the bathroom and one to the closet. From there, you walk into the room, on one side being the bed, the other side having a lounge area with a TV and recliner. I had stayed at my boyfriend's house a few times and had a few experiences where when in the house alone I would hear very distinct sounds of boots stomping around downstairs. I am not a stranger to ghostly activity, so I kind of laughed it off, but didn't let it bother me too much. My boyfriend said that he has had a few paranormal encounters in the house, but nothing like that. One night I was laying in bed watching TV. My boyfriend was standing by the hallway leading into the room with our cat. He was commenting on feeling a draft under the door, which is strange because, again, there are no vents and the hallway leading into the room is a 90-degree angle. I hear the door start to creak open and see him and the cat react at the same time and snap towards the door. Then I hear the door slam shut and boots running up and down, up and down, up and down the stairs. This continued for a few minutes and then stopped. This was horrifying. I didn't know how to handle myself. This same sound happened multiple times every few nights for a couple of weeks. We'd be trying to sleep and hear boots up and down, up and down, up and down the stairs, but nobody would be there. It happened so often that eventually we just learned to ignore it. Then the activity stopped, seemingly out of nowhere. Additionally, in the master closet, there's a small hatch in the ceiling that leads to additional attic space that is not accessible from the main attic. Sometimes we can hear shuffling around up there and walking. My boyfriend refused to look up there ever since moving in in fear he might find something scary. We recently had an inspector look up there because we were having our insulation redone, and he said it looks practically untouched up there, no sign of animal activity. I had come to terms that maybe there was a ghost in the house, but recent events have led me to believe there is something much worse here. I have since moved into the house with my pets. Our couch is a sectional, and when laying on the far side, you can see straight towards the back door. Our back door has a storm door with a doggy door on it, and we call the dogs in for the night and close the actual back door, which doesn't have a dog door on it. One night after dinner, I was watching a movie on the couch while my boyfriend was upstairs playing video games. I heard a scratching at the door and went to open it, to find my Shih Tzu had been locked outside. I let him in and pet him, and he growled a bit and ran off. This isn't very unusual for him, to be honest. He's kind of a jerk, so I didn't think anything of it. I went back to watching my movie. A while later, my boyfriend came downstairs to join me, and I let him know that he must have locked Odie outside when he called all the dogs in. He swears to me that Odie has been upstairs with him this entire time. He swore that he was laying in his lap and actually kind of annoying him, getting in his way while he was trying to play games. We have a kind of heated, half-joking, but mostly serious disagreement about this because we both swear we saw oatmeal in 2 different places at once. We agree to disagree and I let the incident go. It was weird. It was really weird, but I decide that my boyfriend must have been mistaken, and Odie must have joined him for games after I let him in, and my boyfriend must have been so enthralled in the games he just assumed Odie was there the whole time. A month or so later, another incident with this shadow oatmeal occurs. I wake up for work and bring oatmeal downstairs with me so he can go outside to potty. I always close the bedroom door behind me when I do this so Odie doesn't come back upstairs and wake my boyfriend up because once Odie is awake, all he wants to do is play. I go to work and come home and I don't think anything of it. Once I get home, my boyfriend is telling me how Odie had to sleep downstairs last night because he got in trouble after I went to bed. I laugh at the story and ask my boyfriend when he softened up and let oatmeal back in. He gets immediately confused and says he didn't. I tell him that when I woke up this morning, oatmeal was sleeping by my feet as always, and I took Odie downstairs this morning. We again have a disagreement because we swear we saw him in 2 places at once. I again brushed it off. This leads us to tonight, when the absolute most horrifying thing to ever happen to me happens. We are in bed watching videos on our phones. I'm on my side facing the wall. Oatmeal is laying up against my feet on the edge of the bed. I feel something coke up in between me and my boyfriend. I assume it's my cat. It turns a couple times and settles in. I think this is a bit strange because my cat usually only sleeps on top of me. If I move him, he'll just keep climbing back up, but I don't turn. About 5 minutes later, I hear a growl that is unmistakably oatmeal's coming from the lump in between me and my boyfriend, and I hear my boyfriend scold oatmeal and shoo him off the bed. I tell myself that it must be my cat by my feet then. My boyfriend turns on the bedside lamp and oatmeal is sleeping soundly next to my feet, and my cat is sleeping in a ball across the room. We're both in shambles. My boyfriend starts frantically searching the room with a flashlight and a knife, not knowing what to do with himself. He says he was petting what he thought was oatmeal, but once he got to the creature's head, its face was hairless and the creature growled and bit him and ran off the bed. At this point, I'm in tears. Now we're freaking out. All of the dots are starting to connect. Is it not a ghost, but this creature living above our bedroom in the attic, running up and down the stairs? Our husky suffered a large wound this week where she mysteriously cut off nearly her entire paw pad. It was hanging on by a thread and luckily was able to be stitched back on. We searched our entire backyard and could not find the source of the incident. It literally looks like someone took a knife and sliced her paw pad off. The vet said the laceration goes completely under her pad and barely missed the artery under it. We at first assumed she must have cut it on our fence, but there was no blood anywhere on or directly by the fence. They have lived here for years without incident. Yes, this could be entirely unrelated, but could this be the creature's fault too? I'm in desperate need of help. What is this thing and how can I get rid of it? Now, this post prompted some comments, as you can imagine. Some were helpful, others were, well, what you'd expect. But what makes this interesting is that on the same day, she would continue to post this on paranormal, cryptids, and the truth is here. Clearly, this situation was scaring her. But the story doesn't end there. Because on April 6th, there was a new post. This time, originating from the truth is here. This time, it read, "Update for my last post. Events leading up to my last post for those catching up." Now, this includes a recap, along with a little new information that we didn't get the last time. The way our house is set up, there is a staircase leading up to the master suite, and it's a 90-degree angle, no vents. One night, about 2 months ago, my boyfriend is standing at the end of the bed, looking towards the door, which is in a little hallway, so I couldn't see it from the bed. He was weirded out because there was a strong draft coming from under the door, but that's impossible, based on how the staircase is. Then I see him and my cat turn towards the door and react at the same time, looking shocked, and I hear the door creaking open and then slam shut. There was nobody there. Then there was the sound of loud stomping running up and down the stairs, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down for a good 5 minutes. Nobody in the house. And every couple of nights for about a week or two, this running and banging up and down the stairs happened. It happened so much to the point where we almost got used to it and would just try to drown it out. Then it stopped just as suddenly as it started. There were a few weird little occurrences, doors opening by themselves, small noises, etc., but nothing crazy. Our back door is a storm door that has a dog door on it, and then there's the actual back door that's solid. The back door leads into a sunroom that is open to our backyard. We leave the door open so the dogs can go in and out of the storm door, and then around 7-ish at night, we call everyone inside and close the door for the night. Information that is very important for this next encounter is my Shih Tzu Oatmeal hates going outside and will only go if we are with him. If I put him outside by himself, he claws and barks at the door and squeezes himself between the storm door and the back door. About a month ago, after calling everyone in, I was watching a movie downstairs and my boyfriend was upstairs playing video games. About an hour or so into the movie, I hear scratching at the back door. I think it must be one of our cats because it's hard to get them inside from the sunroom. I go to let them in and it isn't a cat. It's my Shih Tzu, Oatmeal. I pick him up and love on him and tell him I'm sorry we locked him out, and he growls at me and runs off. So I don't think anything of this. About 30 minutes later, my boyfriend comes downstairs and I tell him that he locked Oatmeal outside when he called the dogs in. He insists that Oatmeal has been upstairs with him this whole time in his lap, making it hard to play games. We have a kind of half-joking but mostly serious argument because we both insisted on seeing Oatmeal in 2 different places at once. I shrug it off and think my boyfriend just didn't want to admit he locked Oatmeal out. No biggie. About 2 weeks ago, I wake up for work and take Oatmeal downstairs with me, and I close the bedroom door behind me so Odie doesn't run back upstairs and bother my boyfriend while he's sleeping. I do this pretty much every day. I go to work, come home, and my boyfriend is telling me how Odie got in trouble the night before after I fell asleep and said he locked him downstairs as punishment. And I ask him when he decided to soften up and let Odie back in the bedroom, and he very seriously insists that he didn't. I tell him that Odie was sleeping by my feet that morning and I took him downstairs with me. We have another argument, both insisting he was in 2 different places. About a week ago, we were watching TV, Odie sleeping by my feet as always. It gets late, so we turn everything off and are laying there watching videos on our phones until we get sleepy. I feel something climb up in between us and circle a few times before settling in against my back. I can feel my boyfriend petting it. I thought it was a little weird because I could still feel Odie on my feet, and my cat usually lays on top of me. He insists on being on top of me and will climb back up if I push him off. But I just assume it's my cat anyway because why would it be anything else? About 5 minutes later, I hear Oatmeal's growl come from in between me and him, and my boyfriend hurries to turn on the light as something runs off the bed. Oatmeal is sleeping soundly by my feet, and my cat is sleeping in a chair across the room. My boyfriend throws himself out of bed and starts searching the entire room in a panic, going through the bathroom cabinets, the dirty laundry, under the bed. He literally had a gun and a flashlight and is hunting the room panicked. He said he was petting what he thought was Oatmeal, but when he got to his head, it was completely hairless and it growled and tried to bite him and then ran off. But we were up for hours before finally falling asleep with the lights on. At this point, I'm convinced it's not a ghost problem, but some sort of Skinwalker or doppelganger monster plaguing the house. Now, before we go any further, it's interesting to note that in this version of the story, on the second post, her boyfriend is hunting the room with a gun and a flashlight. But if we remember from before, in the first iteration of this story, in the first post, 2 weeks prior, he was hunting around with a knife. Now, it could be that she just got this detail wrong. That's very possible. But let's keep that in mind as we go along. These are the new events. These are the new events since my last post. Over the next few days, we heard some strange noises and little things, but nothing huge. We talked to some people and decided to try and cleanse the house, so we were going to the metaphysical store to get supplies. As we're getting ourselves together, I hear 3 knocks come from the top of the stairs. I asked my boyfriend if he heard them, and then there was another 3 knocks. This time louder and more separated, more deliberate. So we leave the house. When we get back, we decided to leave the stuff in the car until we're prepared enough to do it because we didn't want to make whatever this thing is angry. But I did bring in a worry stone that I got. I used to have one from when I went to Ireland and that I'd carry in my pocket, but I lost it. I put the worry stone in my nightstand. We spent the evening downstairs. All of the animals were downstairs with us and the bedroom door was shut. A few hours later, I go upstairs to shower, and I notice something sitting in my cat's water fountain, and it's my worry stone. My stomach dropped. So then the next night, we're at dinner with my boyfriend's mom, and she's telling me about all this weird stuff in the house I didn't know about, including a mailbox in the wall in the downstairs closet. She says she assumed they used it to hide money, which I think is odd, but I decided to entertain that possibility until I actually went home and saw the mailbox. It's a tiny red mailbox. They cut a hole and anchored it into the closet. The back of the mailbox is gone, and it opens into a crawl space between the wall and the back of the fireplace. There's a string in the mailbox that lowers into the cavity. Why would someone hide money in there? It's so obvious. Even if they were, why the string? Once you've found the mailbox, you've found the string. If the money falls out of the string, you have to cut the wall open to retrieve it. I made him cut a hole at the bottom of the wall, but we didn't find anything back there. Whatever they were lowering into the wall is long gone. The mailbox gives me the heebie-jeebies, but I decided to leave it alone. The next day I'm at work, and I'm telling my coworker about the strange tiny mailbox, and a pair of my grooming shears is thrown onto the floor from my shear holder in front of both of us. We caught it on the security camera. My coworker was so freaked out that she had the manager go review the footage. I did close a drawer before the shears fell, but I've tried to recreate it but couldn't. They're soft closed drawers. I tried physically shaking the station and even body slamming it, trying to make my shears fall, and I couldn't. At the exact same time this is happening, my boyfriend calls me from home and tells me that everything is okay, but something tried to catch the house on fire. He had been burning his mom's old tax documents for her for the past few days. It was about 10 years of paperwork, and it's hot here in Texas, so he split it up. He had been burning the last batch. He went upstairs to grab something and came down and something closed the flue and the house was filling with smoke. He had to extinguish the fire, which was reaching out of the fireplace, and evacuate the animals and air the house out. It's been 3 days and it still smells a little smoky in here. Again, little occurrences happen of weird noises, doors opening and closing, hearing walking upstairs or on the stairs. Keep in mind, we've been sleeping with the lights on, and I refuse to be in this house alone. Then last night, around 2 a.m., we're both awake and decide to go downstairs and grab a snack and let the dogs out. My boyfriend is outside with the dogs, and I hear clear as day, loud thumping footsteps in our room upstairs. I go outside. Then we both come back in, and we're on the couch, and the light in our dining room is flickering. And I ask him if he noticed, and he tells me that it started flickering when I got home. He tells me that's how he knew I was home and met me down at my car earlier that day. He said it hadn't flickered all day until I got home, and now that we're talking about it, the flickering got worse. On and off, on and off, on and off. We decided to turn the lights off and go back upstairs. Then upstairs in our bathroom, the light bulb in our wax melter bursts mysteriously. He goes downstairs to the laundry room, and our laundry room light all of a sudden won't turn on when it was just on less than 30 minutes ago. He comes back upstairs, we lock our bedroom door and try our best to go to bed. This morning all the lights are working fine, until I'm out in my craft shed when the electricity starts going on and off, on and off, on and off randomly. Everything all at once, like the breaker is being switched back and forth. And then it just stops. After a few days of flickering and strange noises, the doors opening and closing, we cleansed and salted the property. Here's to hoping this is the end of it. It would be nice to be able to sleep with the lights off again. Just like last time, the comments were a mixed bag. But this time, there were more positive comments than jokes. On the same day, just like last time, she posted it to another subreddit. She followed it up with paranormal encounters, with another mixed bag of comments. This, unfortunately, would be the last post as of making this video. But we're not done here. What we have to understand is why M. Lemsicles is making these posts. Is she lying? Just telling a story? Or is she telling the truth? Looking past the inconsistencies of the knife versus the gun in the first version of the story to the second, I think it's safe to say it could have just been a mix-up. But considering a lot of people on Reddit make these stories up for attention, we need to take a look at her past. When scrolling down her feed, we can see that this is the first time she's ever posted something like this. Prior to these posts, it seems she is just a very lighthearted person. Seems like she's into arts and crafts as she makes earrings and drawings and other artistic creations. Prior to that, it seems she has made some music as well, asking people on the site what they think of her music. In fact, she even linked her YouTube channel a couple years ago. If we take a trip over to her YouTube channel, we can see that she definitely is a singer. She even has a pretty good voice. Now, what does all this mean? It means that she has no history of making up stories as far as I can tell. I've taken a look into her online history and her YouTube history, and there's nothing but artistic things linked to her. So when we get to these posts, there's no reason to not believe her. I think that there must be something truly terrifying going on for her to continuously post her experiences on multiple different subreddits. From here, there's no telling where it could go. But I can say this: I hope she finds peace. If there is an update to this, I will surely let all of you know. Until then, let's all take a moment and hope that M. Lemsicles can get some sleep tonight, and this whole ordeal can be put to rest. Thank you for watching, guys. I love all of you.